The novel adaptations may be continuing after all. In the latest Vortex magazine, M. Matthew asked, I wanted to thank you all so much for the brilliant adaptation of Goth Opera from book to audio. I really hope that it sold well and there could perhaps be a little more life in the novel adaptations range yet. The Dying Days had such a limited print run and it would be the perfect way to mark 30 years of Paul McGann as the Doctor in 2026.
Nick replied, we're already talking about further novel dramatizations. They're a slow burn on the sales, but given that some of them have done well after a long period of time, we're now revisiting them in a limited way. Goth opera has been popular, perhaps not surprisingly, since Paul Cornell's book is a classic.
So it's rather interesting, isn't it? Because when they announced Goth Opera was coming, they were fairly clear that, it would be just Goth Opera
To
on its own. This
celebrate,
isn't necessarily the return of the novel adaptations.
yeah, it was very much going, here's Goth opera, this is celebrating 30 years of the Virgin Missing Adventures.
Yeah, it was very much a
Um,
don't expect anything more necessarily.
and I think we kind of knew in the back of our heads that if this did well, it could lead to further.
Yeah, I think it
And,
would certainly let Big Finish know that, there is still interest there.
well, that's the thing because the amount of emails the podcast got, and like we say, Vortex, how
Hmm.
many people writing going, "Where are the novel adaptations?" And I think this is proof. Show up for the things you want to hear, and hopefully, if people, vote with their wallet here, you'll get the
Yeah,
stuff you want.
yeah. It just seems that they didn't quite get enough money from them initially, but since
Mhm.
they've been a slow burn, they've been getting that
But
over
that's
time, so it does pay off in the long run.
Yeah, I think because they're always on sale. But I think what really hindered the original run of the novel adaptations was the selection of stories.
Hmm.
Whereas now they are focusing on what's the best story where we can put the big finish touch and make it even
Yeah.
better and elevate it, really.
Yeah, you sort of read between the lines there of what Nick said, and it seems they're being, more selective with what they pick. They're not just going for any old random stories. Before it felt like they were looking at ones that they could do easily. Like you look at Theatre of War, they've got Justin Richards on their writing staff and such. It made sense in the sense that it was Braxiatel's first story, so you got
Yeah,
interest from Gallifrey fans and Bernie Summerfield fans alike there. But perhaps there wasn't enough interest in the story itself. And I think
yeah.
now we're at a point where canon sort of matters a bit less. So instead of filling in those gaps with stories like that, it's more just go for the ones that are particularly popular with the fans, like Goth Opera was.
Yeah. I mean,
And
another big change since the novel adaptations have ended is we've got more recasts.
mm,
And now we've touched the Virgin Missing Adventures of Goth Opera. We can open the door here and start to do some other stories, like Empire of Glass, Man in the Velvet Mask. But I think the most likely ones next would probably be the Grant. I'm trying to remember the
Grant
character.
Morrison.
Grant Morrison. Yeah, I
Or
was
is it?
thinking.
No, is it? No,
I'm
that's a
thinking he's a
comic art.
comic. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
comic
what.
writer, isn't he? Grant
That's
Morrison.
yeah, that's the name I had in my head, and I was like, it's not
Yeah,
that.
no, no. But I
Um,
swear he wrote for the Sixth Doctor, didn't he? A comic. A
yeah,
Sixth
he,
Doctor
he did.
comic.
He did Six Doctor comics. I'm gonna quickly do a young person thing and Google here.
Yeah, Google who this Grant character is because I know who you mean. I
Um,
cannot remember. What is it? It's the time of your life and Killing Ground, the
yeah,
stories, aren't they?
those I think are likely contenders because if we go back to March's Six Doctor box at Quinn Dilemma, we had
Uh,
him name dropped in
hmm.
that Six Doctor timeline. So I think it's possible that we could see those maybe as a little thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I wonder if they'll continue with Fifth Doctor, Tegan and Issa and do. Is it Sands of Life?
Sound of Time.
Time. Ah, Sands of Life is the Fourth Doctor audio with the Lam.
Grant Markham. There we go.
Ah, there we go. It was an M.
Yeah. So yeah, I think those are likely, but I think maybe we could complete the Fifth Doctor, Nyssa and stuff, and I think with
Yeah. I
Sutek's
think they
return,
are popular characters as well.
yeah,
Like, I think there is definitely a lot of love for that trio out there. So.
the only
And a
thing
lot
that
of
sort
love for
of
pyramids as well. So.
the only thing that sort of puts me off them doing that is BBC did like a reprint collection, like the Monster Collection in 2016, I think, or
Uh,
15, and they did their own like straight read through audiobook of it.
hmm.
So I don't know if that would be too much on the toes of them, really. Um,
Yeah. I mean, 2015 was 9 years ago now. That
yeah,
was
I
about,
suppose.
yeah, there could be enough breathing room there.
I don't think we'll get BBC books. I think it's going
No.
to be strictly the Virgin license. So yeah, Dying Days. I think that would be great to hear because the Dying Days is such an interesting book in the terms of it's doing what Russell did with the Christmas invasion. You've got this political stage, you've got the aliens invade. It's very classic Russell, and it's you can see how Russell sort of manipulated that story and made it for the 21st century.
Hmm.
Christmas invasion, so but that'd be interesting. To see. And like I say, that's a big one because that was sort of the send off of the New Adventures, really.
Yeah. And as was mentioned by Matthew in the email, it was a rather limited print run.
Mm.
And so I think there's interest from people who weren't able to get the book at the time in, oh, what is this story actually like? And they can seek out other ways to read it, but maybe want, you know, something more official to experience it through with a audio adaptation.
I mean, you're probably screaming in the comments, Long Barrow.
Hmm.
That's like the big one everyone wants.
I think
Uh,
when they had their what turned out to be Cold Fusion as a to be announced release, they were keeping us waiting on that. It was you had your Cold Fusion brigade and your Lung Barrow brigade. It was pretty much just those two stories, and you had
mm,
fans of each going head to head on which one it would end up being.
yeah, I think Lung Barrow, as much as it'd be great to have, I don't think that's on the cards.
Hmm.
It would definitely be one that would sell incredibly well, but it'd be interesting to see how they would adapt that.
Yeah, because I imagine some characters would be removed from it because you did have Romana in the original Goth Opera,
Yes.
but her whole subplot was removed from that story. So makes you wonder what would they cut from Lungbarrow?
Mm. I mean, I'd like Managra. I'd love some Third Doctor ones like Scales of Injustice. I think that would be a great one because,
Hmm.
especially with the way they go with the Third Doctor adventures.
Yeah. I mean, would it be too soon to recast Mike Yates though?
We,
Probably. But could you
yeah,
get around it in the story and just write him out?
you probably could find a way.
Hmm. If you can write Romana out, you can write Mike Yates out.
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry, Mike.
Device of Death would be great because it would be season 12. Harry and Fourth Doctor and Sarah. I think that would be lovely.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's a trio they've brought back together not too long ago.
yeah, there's some good possibilities really. Um,
Yeah,
I
certainly.
mean, if it,
Attitudes have changed at Big Finish when it comes to recasting. So, yeah, definitely since the last run of novel adaptations,
Mhm.
there is, room for a lot more stories now.
I mean, if Big Finish gets the Judge Dredd license back, maybe to coincide with that, they could do sort of the Burning Heart because that's like a Doctor Who Judge Dredd sort of crossover type
Mhm.
story in a way. Yeah, there are options. There are options there.
Yeah, certainly are. And I think it's nice to hear this now that it is being considered that, things are looking up for the novel adaptations after seeming to be dead for quite a while. And then it seemed like a for one night only special event with Goth Opera.
Yes.
But yeah, now it seems we are getting it back, but it's not going to be like an ongoing series as such. It's going to be a special release every once in a while, like year or so apart. Something that, is well picked and is popular enough. Yeah, and just gets people excited again each time rather than it just being, oh, it's another novel adaptation out now.
I think that's the way forward. Make these
Yeah.
things an event.
Hmm. Because it certainly worked for Goth Opera.
Oh, absolutely.
Which, and I think it was more than just, oh, novel adaptations are back. It was, oh, it's Goth Opera.
Yeah,
That
it
definitely was the vibe around that announcement.
it just made perfect sense.
Hmm.
That one just totally did. I mean, maybe they could do Blood Harvest, so you've got the set. Um, but yeah, be interesting to see where we go next with the novel adaptations.
Yeah, let us know all your thoughts on this news down in the comments below. Which novel adaptation would you most like them to adapt? Because, you got a lot to choose from there. Which
Oh,
novel would you like them to adapt? Not novel adaptation. That's
uh,
I've tripped up there. I've tripped on my
yeah.
own words.
Oh, I don't know
Bit of a
which. I
paradox.
mean, I'd love them to do some new series books, but I think I'd go Killing Ground because it does something very interesting with the Cybermen. It's quite dark and twisted, so I'd go Killing Ground for me personally.
Ooh, I really do not know. I'm not au fait enough with the Virgin and Virgin Missing and New Adventures to say at this point.
Yeah, because there's this brilliant bit in Killing Ground where you've got like this reporter who like studies Cybermen, and she's like recording the cyber conversion
Ooh.
to experience it as like a record of it. And then they get converted and she destroys the tape because it's irrelevant. So like you literally have a kill it. Yeah, it's brilliant. So it'd be interesting to see how they do that on Austria.
Hmm. Yeah, that sounds
that
quite
would def
intense.
that would definitely have the this is not suitable for younger listeners.
Hmm. Yeah, it'll live up to it. I think with Goth
Yeah, yeah.
Opera, it was sort of like oh, okay, sure, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
shall see.
There we go.
Yeah. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.